From the discovery of sprawling subterranean
Let's
otherworlds
hope this is
to the
good.
startling second phases that completely turned the tables in so many of its boss fights, 2022's Elden Ring was a mesmerizing action RPG adventure
amazing
that
game.
surprised players at every turn. Now, more than 2 years later, it appears that developer From Software isn't
Do I trust this guy?
done with pulling the rug out from under the feet
I'm
of its
analyzing
fan base
him.
just yet. With the surprise
I trust
reveal
this
of
guy.
Elden Ring Nightreign,
About what
a
he thinks
standalone
about
co-op
this
spin-off
new
that
game.
takes the cautious dungeon crawls of Elden Ring.
He had Gundams?
and
He had
turbocharges
Gundams,
them
but he
into
also had Optimus Prime
propulsive
in the
slash and
back.
dash
I don't
speed
know.
runs.
Do I trust
After
this guy?
spending some 6 hours of hands-on time with this bold new spin on From Software's
I
own
said
Souls-like
bold. I thought he said
formula,
bald new.
I can confirm that Nightreign is shaping
Spin-off.
up to be something truly unique.
This game could be really
If
good.
Elden Ring was one of
could be.
2022's biggest chart-topping hits, then
I'm
Nightreign
hopeful,
would appear to be its dance floor.
but if
filling
Miyazaki's not
remix,
working it, I'm
chopped up,
concerned.
intensified in beats per minute, and designed to both excite fans of the original and broaden its appeal to the masses.
I swear to God, if Extra Life played this fucking game early and puts out some shit fucking review, I am so done, bro. I swear to God, if that shithead got invited to play this game early, too.
Now, unfortunately, because it was such an early build of the game that I played, I wasn't able to capture any footage, even though it was running great on PlayStation 5. So I apologize for the generic footage I'll be using here, and also for my generic face. Anyway, here's how Nightreign
Oh, he's not
breaks
going to show
down.
gameplay?
Imagine stepping back into the opening area from the original game, only nothing in the landscape seems to be where you remember it. Also, there are 3 of you now, and
Bunga, I
everything
saw the
seems to be
trailer.
happening at a much
Oh, bro, the trailer looked so crazy with the fact, like, the bosses, they had bosses from previous Souls games, which is really interesting. They had that wolf boss that, like, split into 3. People were saying it's basically like Monster Hunter Dark Souls, which sounds
higher
incredible,
tempo.
honestly.
That's Nightreign in a nutshell.
Sounds like an
You
absolutely
squad
amazing
up with
idea.
2 other players at the
You
start
talking about a
of
different
each
game?
round.
Oh, are you talking about Okami 2, Wabunga? Is that what you're talking about? We just finished the Game Awards. You're talking about Okami 2, right? Yeah. That, it got spoiled to me in chat, and I was like, before it happened, I was like, damn, that would have blown my mind. That would have absolutely blown my mind that, like, that's
Dropped into a
happening.
densely packed alternate reality chunk
'cause that
of
is
Limgrave that has both its
crazy.
enemy types and structures randomly shuffled around at the
Absolutely
beginning of each
crazy.
session, and it's up to you and your squad mates to build up from your lowly level 1
I mean,
character's
dude, that's what I was
status
saying on
as
stream, and
fast
other
as
people were
possible by
disagreeing with me, is I was like, dude, the most insane announcement here was Okami 2. I don't give a fuck about stuff like The Witcher 4 or something. It's like, okay, well, no shit, you're gonna make another Witcher, duh. Okami 2 being made, absolutely unbelievable that that's actually happening.
harvesting runes and earning Destiny-style loot
I can't
drops
believe it's actually
as you
happening.
slash and dash through every enemy.
The studio's dead. The game came out like
so what's the big
15
rush?
years
Well,
ago
each
or
session
something.
of Nightreign is structured as a 3-day cycle. With
You guys are saying you're excited for The Witcher until you're going to play The Witcher 4 and it's going to be dog shit, and then you're going to have to wait a year for them to fix the game, okay? We all know it's going to happen. It's literally happened with every past game they've ever made. And you guys are going to be like, dude, this is going to be so sick. The game's going to come out. It's going to be literal dog shit. You're going to say, it's ass. I can't believe I was excited for this. I'm done with this game. Fuck CD Projekt Red. That's what you guys are literally going to say. Day one. That's literally what's going to happen. And then you're going to have to wait months to a year for them to fix the game, and it's going to be peak then. But you're going to have to wait. Wrong? What do you mean wrong? They've done it the last 2 times, bro. They've literally done it the last 2 times in a row, maybe even 3 times.
Like rain, should you find yourself caught for too long beyond the perimeter of the rapidly shrinking
They said they'll work
circle
more to
map
release it good. That's what they
known
said
as
after The Witcher
Ring of
3.
Rain. In that regard, Nightreign is a bit like Fortnite, only with more medieval forts and knights.
What the hell am I
and
looking at?
considerably less
That was
TikTok
Aang with a
dances.
Captain America shield.
Once the Ring of Rain reaches its
The only
smallest
difference is they're
diameter
using
at the end
Unreal
of the
Engine
day,
5.
A major boss fight
What did
is
they use before,
triggered.
Unreal Engine
Like
4?
the rest of Nightrein's enemies, these end-of-day bosses are always randomized, and during my repeat runs, I experienced clashes with familiar returning foes like
enemies
the
are
Draconian
randomized?
Tree Sentinel, as well as some brand new nasties like the Centipede, a towering, twisting swarm of disgusting limbs, prone to detaching its body parts in an attempt to divide itself and conquer my crew. With the day 1 boss dealt with, day 2 begins and the Ring of Rain rescinds, allowing your squad to take a breath, regroup, and then resume ransacking the map for upgrades in preparation for the more challenging foes to come at the end of days 2
Wait, this sounds
and
awesome.
3. It's a structure that allows
Wait, the new Elden Ring game sounds awesome. So, you have like day 1, you loot stuff on the map, then you fight a boss. Then day 2 happens, you loot the map, and then you fight a boss. Wait, that sounds sick.
for a gradual build of tension before a palpable sense
sounds
of
awesome.
accomplishment and release with each boss felled. Over time, my squad mates and I became a well-oiled machine as far as getting the balance right between beelining for churches to snatch up valuable HP flasks and taking down the more major overworld enemies like dragons and hippos
Elden Risk of
in order
Rain,
to
yeah.
get maximum XP boosts for buck before the map was cast
You can
back
probably play
into
solo, yeah.
darkness. We were also able to eventually settle upon the best combination of heroes for our group. You see, Nightreign doesn't feature the lengthy list of generic character classes that the original Elden Ring did.
Character classes never
and players
mattered.
won't have to Google the difference between vague-sounding archetypes like the Prisoner and Wretch when they first hop in.
I've always played Wretch.
Instead, Nightreign offers 8 different heroes to choose from,
You play a
each with very
character.
clearly identified strengths and weaknesses, in order to make it as easy to jump into as possible. 4 were playable in the preview build. Wilder is an all-rounder hero type with a good balance between speed and attack power. Guardian is a burly tank type
They're
with
a
heavy
bird.
attacks and increased damage resistance. Duchess is a
guy's a
nimble
bird.
type with fast attacks and a killer quick-step ability.
Duchess.
And Recluse is a mage type with ranged magical attacks.
Mage, boo!
Additionally, each character features a unique skill and ultimate attack that both operate on cooldown timers. Wilder is able to use his hookshot skill to either
the
reel
fuck?
in smaller enemies like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, or to quickly zip past the swinging arms of a major boss in order to sneak a few strikes in from behind. Guardian is able to conjure up a mini tornado to knock swarms of enemies off their feet, while
I don't know how I feel about them having character classes where it's like, oh, I'm going to pick the Duchess. I need all of the dexterity weapons that drop, and I'm going to use all the light armor. Like, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about that because it just goes so against Souls games. But I guess because it's multiplayer, they have that because they specifically want, you know, everyone to be using different stuff. Yeah, it
Recluse
is
can put
more
a
like
marker
Monster
on an
Hunter.
enemy so that every time
Yeah.
that enemy is attacked, the damage is siphoned into boosts
could work
for her
totally
own
fine.
HP. These unique abilities are all extremely useful in their own right, but finding ways to combine them with the special moves of your squad mates is key to surviving Nightrein's toughest enemy encounters. One strategy that my squad grew to rely on quite heavily was to unleash a damaging
killing the
ultimate
enemy?
attack on an enemy such as Guardian's swooping dive bomb, then immediately follow it up with Duchess's restage skill, which basically creates an instant replay of the last attack landed and
the
allows
hell?
you to double the total amount of damage inflicted. It's in finding killer combinations of moves such as these that the co-op focus of Nightreign really shines. And after multiple failed attempts, my squad was finally able to progress through to the 3rd day of the cycle, which climaxed
Gary's
in a fight
mod Elden
against a
Ring.
snarling Cerberus-like beast
That thing
called
looks cool.
Gladius, which forced my team to coordinate and queue up skills and ultimate attacks
This
with
seems like a-
painstaking precision in order to overcome it. Gladius is just the first of 8 major bosses to take down in Nightreign, each with their own 3-day cycle leading up to them. In addition to the randomization of enemy types and structures, further wrinkles will be introduced into each boss cycle, such as live volcanoes and forests full of rot.
Bro, that place was one of the coolest places. Dude, this place was so sick. The lead up to this place and everything in Elden Ring was so cool. And it has such a cool boss, too.
In an effort to prevent the landscape
Cool
from
lead
ever
up.
growing too predictable. That's along with random events like meteor strikes, swarms of giant ants to fend off, and the surprise invasion of powerful tormentors like Margit the Fell Omen in an attempt to impede your progress. In addition to the approachability of its roster of playable characters,
Market
Nightreign
area.
has polished up a lot of Elden Ring's more abrasive edges to make it a far more friction-free experience.
What do you mean by
The
that?
new wall jump move allows you to quickly hop up and over steep sections of the terrain, while the removal of any fall damage means you can lunge off cliffs or down dark holes without pausing to study your surroundings for safe platforms.
I do not have a problem with being able to wall jump or have no fall damage. I have no problem with that. The only issue is it'll be less funny when streamers fall off and die. There's less funny, dumb things happening with the fact that you don't fall off cliffs and just fucking die all the time.
You only need to walk near a site
That's the
of
only
grace
problem.
to top up your health and flasks.
Otherwise, sounds fine.
And if you want to spend some runes to level up, you just button mash through pages of auto leveling that best suits the base traits of your chosen character, rather than having to agonize over whether you should allocate a point to faith or dexterity, for example. It all gives each session the feeling of being shuttled along
such a
in
different
an
game.
intense speed run. And you can get around even faster by using spectral hawks to vault across great
I like
distances
the hawk
of
thing.
the map.
That seems cool.
Death is not necessarily the end in Nightreign either. If you find yourself down, you have a near death meter that appears above you, and your squad mates must attack you while you crawl along the ground until the meter is reduced and you can return to the fray. It may sound slightly odd to basically kick a friend while they're down, but it's a
attack
system
your
that
ally?
works quite well.
That's how you revive
Particularly
them.
since you can use ranged attacks like magic or crossbows to revive a down squad mate from a distance
Also, ranged weapons
without
have
the
a
risk
use
of
now.
putting yourself in harm's way. Should all three of you be wiped out at once, it's the end of the session, and you must restart day one with everyone back at level
Interesting.
1. So you need to stay on your toes in order to keep the rest of your squad on their feet whenever possible. While there's no doubt that elements of it are inspired by the likes of Destiny and Diablo 4, it needs to be said that Elden Ring
Diablo
Nightreign is
4?
not a live service game. Once you buy it,
How
you
is this
get access
anything
to the
like
complete
Diablo 4?
package, and there are no battle passes or microtransactions to
What?
contend with. It can also be played in single player
How
should
is
you
this-
wish to
this
stay
is
offline,
not like an
with
ARPG.
enemy health pools that scale down so that it's
Normal
not
thing.
too overwhelming for solo players. Although, curiously, there are currently no plans to allow players to play in pairs. As someone who has sunk hundreds
What?
of hours into Elden Ring,
Wait, by playing pairs, does he mean you can't just have 2 people instead of 3, or does he mean that you can't queue with a friend? That'd be annoying.
both in the original 2022 game and this year's
Do I
Shadow
play
of the
1 or
Erdtree
3?
DLC, I can confidently say that From Software is onto
Kinda too
something
bad.
truly spectacular with Nightreign. Cutting throats at breakneck speed with a pair of friends in tow has been a consistently exhilarating experience
I think this
so
could be
far,
fun.
and especially
down.
gratifying when you work together to topple its toughest bosses using each character's
Doesn't look like this
special
game would change
abilities
my
in
life, but
tandem. Assuming the developers
I'm
can throw
hopefully
enough
I'm
randomized elements to keep
optimistic
each
because
3-day
I like
assault
Elden Ring
feeling
so much.
fresh, then Elden Ring Nightreign could well provide an exciting change of pace for existing fans.
Actually, you
and
know
an
what? No, I'm not optimistic because Dark Souls 2. I know what happens when Miyazaki doesn't work on something. I want it to be good. I really want this game to be good, but Miyazaki not working on it. We saw the last time that happened.
surprisingly accessible entry point for
Miyazaki's
newcomers
working
when
on
it launches
Astrobot
sometime
2.
in 2025. So, what do you
Ever since they got bought out, which hasn't even happened yet. Now is Miyazaki's working on Astrobot 2. They fucking poached his ass, bro. They're like, we need some more poison swamps in Astrobot. I'm really curious about this game though. Really, really, really curious. I hope that it's good.